Saminiti namine. Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunnavadi Paschatadesvatari. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Prahladananda Prabhu. Nice to see you again. And this is Philip. I'm not sure who it is. And Mother Nishta is there. Good. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva. Tai Gaura Haribol 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 Nitai Gaur Haribol. Om Gyan Timidandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshur Mintaram Jana Tashmai Sri Guruve Namah. Hare Krishna Prabhus, Somen Prabhu, Praladanda Prabhu, Mother Nishta.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare
Krishna Prabhu. Hare Bol. Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat. Come near Krishna Prabhu from Tampa. Very nice.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.
All goes to Prabhupada. So today we are going to begin chapter 7. We left, I think, with the text 24. So if any one of you would also like to read, we can read and further discuss. So what we left last week, just to have a little brief introduction, so we are on the track, just to see. So before we begin, we can chant 3 times Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritam Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudirayat. Nasta Prayesa Bhadreshu Nittam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistaki Mukhaṁ Karati Vācālam Pangulangayate Girim Amaham Vande Sri Guru Dinatarinam Sri Chaitanya Isharam Paramananda Madhava Gurube Gaura Chandraya Radhikaye Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya namo namaha. So we discussed last week how Sri Krishna talked about category of people who don't like to surrender, and other category those will surrender, but then out of that one category surrender to Krishna and the other category surrender to other gods. So you can say three category. So in talks about those who do not surrender, he talks about those who surrender something other than him, but is connected with him. Not directly, but indirectly. That is, we call demigod worshipper, or even other god also, like impersonalist, other religion, they also worship different kind of god, but it's all same in a sense that it is Krishna who is arranging whole thing, but they are not fully aware of it. So today we will start with the 725. Anyone would like to read?
Hare Krishna, I'll read.
Hey Phil, is that from Orlando?
Yes, from
All right, nice to hear you.
Yes.
I was going to call you. You doing okay?
I'm in the temple with the devotees in New York. It's so they've been.
Oh, you are in New York now.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
yeah.
Okay, good news.
It's a blessing. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for all the help in Orlando.
I appreciate that you are hanging in. You're just newcomer, but you are progressing so nicely. I'm very happy. Okay, so 7.25. You have the Bhagavad Gita?
I'm going to open it right now. I have it in.
So you're staying with Ram Roy Prabhu?
So I don't know if you met Arjun, but he set up a program called Gita Life for students and people that are working, so that they get the association of devotees, learn the essentially the purification process, only eating prasad, doing the morning programs, learning the prayers, and doing group readings, things of that nature, learning the philosophy. So
I
that
like that.
it's so helpful. It's helped me. It's just helped me. It's helped me get away from a lot of things that I didn't need in my life, so that I can focus on.
Good. Very good. I'm very happy.
Okay, 7.25.
Yeah.
The verse and then the Sanskrit and the translation. How do you want me to read it?
Yeah, Sanskrit and then synonyms if you have, and the translation and then purport.
Naham prakasha sarvasya yoga maya samavrta mudhoyam na bijanati lokomam ajam avyayam.
Hey, you're good. You're born in the West. Look at you. Your pronunciation is very good.
It's all because of my training. They've been merciful to me. Believe me.
Good.
Na nor aham I prakasaha manifest sarvasya to everyone yoga maya by internal potency samavrtaha covered mudhaha foolish ayam these na not abhi janati can understand lokaha persons mam me ajam unborn avyayam inexhaustible. Okay, in the translation by Srila Prabhupada, I am never manifest to the foolish and unintelligent. For them, I am covered by my internal potency, and therefore they do not know that I am unborn and inexhaustible. It may be argued that since Krishna was visible to everyone when he was present on this earth, then how can it be said that he is not manifest to everyone? But actually, he was not manifest to everyone. When Krishna was present, there were only a few people who could understand him to be the supreme personality of Godhead. In the assembly of Kurus, when Sisupala spoke against Krishna's being elected president of the assembly, Bhishma supported Krishna and proclaimed him to be the supreme God. Similarly, the Pandavas and a few others knew that he was the supreme, but not everyone. He was not revealed to the non-devotees and the common man. Therefore, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that but for his pure devotees, all men consider him to be like themselves. He was manifest only to his devotees as the reservoir of all pleasure, but to others, to unintelligent non-devotees, he was covered by his internal potency. In the prayers of Kunti in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8, verse 19, it is said that the Lord is covered by the curtain of Yoga Maya, and thus ordinary people cannot understand him. This Yoga Maya curtain is also confirmed in the Isopanishad, Mantra 15, in which the devotee prays, Hiranmayana Patrena, Satyasya Pihatam Mukham, Tatvam Pusan Apavrnu, Satya Dharmaya Durstaye. O my Lord, you are the maintainer of the entire universe, and devotional service to you is the highest religious principle. Therefore, I pray that you will also maintain me. Your transcendental form is covered by the Yoga Maya. The Brahma Jyoti is the covering of the internal potency. May you kindly remove this glowing effulgence that impedes my seeing your Satchit Ananda Vigraha, your eternal form of bliss and knowledge. The supreme personality of Godhead in his transcendental form of bliss and knowledge is covered by the internal potency of the Brahma Jyoti, and the less intelligent impersonalists cannot see the supreme on this account. Also, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 14, verse 7, there is this prayer by Brahma. O Supreme Personality of Godhead, O Super Soul, O Master of all mystery, who can calculate your potency and pastimes in this world? You are always expanding your internal potency, and therefore no one can understand you. Learned scientists and learned scholars can examine the atomic constitution of the material world or even the planets, but still they are unable to calculate your energy and potency, although you are present before them. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, is not only unborn, but also avyaya, inexhaustible. His eternal form is bliss and knowledge, and his energies are all inexhaustible.
Very nice. Srila Prabhupada's purport is so complete. So, this is a beautiful verse actually. The way Krishna explained, it's so thorough. Previous few verses before, Krishna talked about assurance, 7.14, if you remember, that by surrendering to him, one goes beyond Maya, material nature. Now, how does that happen? This is a started discussion from this verse. That by surrendering to him, how do you actually transcend literally from the three modes of material nature? So this verse began with that. Naham, no aham. No aham. Prakash, or manifest. So this verse and next 5 verses is concluding section of this chapter. As we just to refresh memory of the whole chapter, we started a few months back. So first 7.1 to 12 talks about how Sri Krishna pervades everything. Sri Krishna underlies everything. Knowledge of Sri Krishna is actually knowledge of everything. And then 13 and 14, 13 to 24, that's 12 verses, about depending upon whether people know Sri Krishna or not, and how they defy Krishna, or you can say surrender to Krishna, or they surrender to something connected to Krishna, but not directly Krishna. And then 15 talks about those who don't surrender to Krishna. And I remember 16, 17, 18 talks about those approach Krishna and surrender to him. Bhajante mam dhirabrata. So it was very nice that if we look at Bhagavad Gita, there are some verses which can be interpreted in different ways. But if you look at overall tenor, we look at the context of the verse, we see that interpretation that the impersonal reality is higher reality does not stand intellectual scrutiny. So now, immediately after the Parambhavam, Ajananta, Sri Krishna gives an indication of what is this Parambhava. There also he does not talk about impersonal Brahman. He talks about himself. And if you try to see, so let's look at this verse, the verse Philip just read, how it's explained how knowledge of Krishna leads to liberation. So 14 has stated that Mam eva je prapaddante mayam etam tarantite. This is a famous verse, Prabhupada quotes 7.14, that one devotee was saying that Maya is also material nature, Krishna's energy. So if we pray to Maya, will we get liberation? Like, Hindus, they worship Durga or Kali, a big deal. Well, the verse doesn't say, neither Krishna ever said to worship anybody else. He said to worship to him, to get out of Maya. He never said you worship Maya to get out of Maya. Those who surrender to me will cross over Maya and they will attain liberation. But how such thing will happen is not being explained till now. So this verse actually explain or beginning section. So let us look at this. If we break down word to word meaning, Naham Prakasha Sarvasya. Prakasha means he's there, but he's not visible. You can say the English word called manifested. Manifested means he's there, but he's not visible. Manifested means now he's visible. So Krishna says, I'm not manifested to everyone. Jogomaya samabrita. I'm covered by Jogomaya. Murayam navi janati. Mura means the fools. Fools do not know me. Na avi janati. Na means not. Avi means completely. Janati means to know. Now you may ask the question, why? Why the foolish don't know? Lokamam ajam abbayam. They do not know that I am unborn. I am inexistable. So now if we see this verse, Sri Krishna is talking about one word twice, aham. So he's not talking about some reality higher than him. He's saying aham, aham. Very clearly means I or I am. So he's saying I am not manifested or manifest for everyone. So who is I? That is referred to Krishna as a person is standing in front of Arjuna. And he's saying, I am not manifest to everyone. Naham prakasha sarvasya. So why he is not manifest to everyone? Because actually Sri Krishna reserved the right to reveal himself or conceal himself. You cannot demand, you cannot claim, hey, I chanted so many decades. Can I have your darshan now? No, you cannot demand like that. But it depends on his sweet free will. In today's society, everyone wants to know their rights. For example, women have their rights. In India, it's a scheduled caste, scheduled tribe. They want their rights. Colored people like African and American have their rights. So like that, different people have their rights. So among these different people who have their rights, what about the right of Sri Krishna, of the Supreme Lord? That's our question. The right of Supreme Lord is to decide whether he will reveal himself or not reveal himself. Even in this world, the more powerful a person is, more influential that person is. And the person can choose. Sometimes people say, if God exists, let him come in front of me. I heard personally somebody say like that in India. No, we are not order giver to God. We are order carrier of God. We cannot demand, if the Prime Minister exists, let him come here. We cannot demand like that. If Joe Biden exists as the President of America, he better show his face in front of me. No, we can't demand like that. I mean, you can demand, but you don't act. If a child who has born in a tribe, in a forest, have never heard of Prime Minister, and someone tell him your small village is a small part of the huge country, and this country, entire country, is actually controlled by a Prime Minister. So he will say, who is Prime Minister? I have never seen him. I won't believe if the Prime Minister is there. Let him come here. If he doesn't come in a count of 10, then he never exists. We have to tell him that count is a substance of a tissue in his head. Will the Prime Minister come by his count? Actually, he has to understand the position of the Prime Minister, and Prime Minister is having a right even if someone goes and meet the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister has the right to choose whether he meet or not with that person. So if ordinary people have their rights, if powerful people have their rights, then what about Sri Krishna, who is the supremely ordinary, supremely powerful? He has his right. Sri Krishna says, Naham prakasha sarvasya. If you look at that line, Naham prakasha sarvasya. Why he let himself be concealed by Yogamaya? Because he reciprocates to our desire. Prabhus and mothers, we have to remember that. Krishna is a reciprocal. He reciprocates to our desire. But if say, no, I wanted to see him, so he should come before us. So actually, when we say reciprocate, it is not based on our spoken desire, but according to our overall mentality. Even if I am demanding, I wanted to see Krishna, let him come in front of me. If the attitude is one of defiance and not the dependence, then we cannot access Sri Krishna. Because ultimately we are minute, anu, particle. Sri Krishna is Vibhu. We are tiny, Sri Krishna is mighty. So we cannot access Sri Krishna when we turn towards him with devotion. Then we can access. Just as a person on earth cannot demand sunrise, the sun will rise according to its own accord. When sun will rise, it will become manifest to the people. So similarly, Sri Krishna, it is described that he has his own will. He chooses when to manifest, when not to manifest. So if in our heart there is a desire to defy Krishna, then we may think that I am God, I am supreme, or even if I am not supreme, certainly Krishna is not supreme. Maybe there is no supreme only. Maybe nature is supreme. Impersonal light is supreme. There's so many ideas in this world. My own conception is supreme, whatever, but certainly Sri Krishna is not supreme. There are some people think like this. So this kind of attitude will not take us very far. This kind of attitude will keep us trapped in material existence. In order to come out of material existence, we need to give up this attitude. So when Krishna sees that we want to surrogate God, we want to substitute God, we want to play God, then Krishna allows us to play God. And it does not reveal his potent in this world except as death. So it is called Anantak, who does Anta. Anta means last minute. Sri Krishna will manifest as death. Mrittu sarva haraschaham. At the time of death, everything will be finished. But that is not Krishna's cruelty. That is Krishna's arrangement by which we can continue to play the game we want to. Or we will wake up and realize ourselves with reality if we want to. So death actually acts as our reminder as an educator. If we are going to take that education, if we don't want, then we can continue our misadventure lifetime after lifetime. But the point is, Sri Krishna has his right. We cannot ask Krishna to come before us as an attitude of defies our attitude. For sun cannot be of defies, it has to be dependence. Sun come by its own accord. When sun comes, we are benefited by the warmth, light that comes from sun. Similarly, Krishna manifests by his own will, and Sri Krishna is ready to manifest at that moment. But it is not just our expressed desire, it is underlying attitude. That is important. So Sri Krishna sees our attitude. If our attitude is not of dependence or service or compliance, then Krishna will not manifest. This is what I understand from this verse. So we will show Krishna that we wanted to see him, not defiance, but by dependence and compliance. Compliance means we start recognizing our subordinate position and start serving Sri Krishna. Rupa Goswami Pad gives a very confidential verse. Seva unmukhi jibbado swayameva spurati adha. Seva unmukhi jibbado. Seva means service, unmukhi means towards, jibbado. Start serving Krishna sincerely. Seva unmukh, become unmukh towards Krishna with the attitude of devotion. Jibba means tongue. Begin with the tongue by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Rama Hare Hare. and honoring prasadam. Then Swayam eva spurati ada, he himself becomes manifest by his own free will. So by understanding that we are tiny, Sri Krishna is infinite. Sri Krishna wants us to choose to either love him or defy him. Try to be independent of him. So those who wanted to remain independent of him, Krishna chooses to not to reveal his glories to them. So even if they claim to be turning towards Krishna, towards spiritual inquiry, I wanted to know about God. Is God a person? No, he is an impersonal light. So people may seem to know about God, but often what they are doing is impose their opinion about God. When they are doing that, they are basically in the name of knowing about God, trying to play God, as my opinion is the best. So therefore, Mudha, Krishna claim as define them as a Mudha, Navijananti. To such people, Sri Krishna does not reveal his glories. Sri Krishna says, they are Mudha, Mudhayam Navijanati. So people cannot know. What they cannot know? Lokamam Ajam Abhayam. They cannot know that I am Ajam. We should always focus on that. Krishna is Aja. He never takes birth. Even though he appeared in the jail of Mathura to Vasudeva and Devaki and Nanda Maharaj's house. But that idea, I am unborn, imperishable, inexhaustible. This means that Sri Krishna is saying, I am beyond time. It is not that I came in a particular time and my existence will cease in a particular time. I am Aja, which means no beginning, no end. So this is actually a logical continuation of 7.24 that we started, where Sri Krishna is telling that abhyaktam abhyaktamapanam. I was unmanifest before and I become manifest now. So those who thinks like they are abuddhaya. So Krishna is similarly continuing the same point over here. He's saying, I am Aja. Those who think that particular form which I am manifesting as Krishna has a particular beginning and particular end, they are mistaken. Krishna is saying in this form only I have manifest all times. So those who cannot understand him as Mudha, Sri Krishna is revealing here to us that what we need is not attitude of defiance, but attitude of compliance. So Krishna is telling here, which is interesting, the Yoga Maya Samaprita. If you really deep down, it's a meditation verse. You can meditate on that verse whole day, whole night. Krishna says, come. Why Sri Krishna is using the word Yoga Maya? As I mentioned, there are several understandings for this. First is that Sri Krishna is referring to himself over here. He's not talking about conditioned soul who are covered. And Srila Prabhupada has described, for them I'm covered with my internal potency. But for whom? For them, as we discussed earlier, for the people on the ground. The sun is covered for the people on the ground. Actually, sun is far greater. It cannot be covered by the cloud. But if you want to see, you have to elevate your consciousness above the cloud. Then you, or metaphor is that you have to go above the cloud. Then you will see the sun is never covered. Krishna is there. So this is very nice. Now we're going to do 26. Who would like to read? Anyone else? 726.
Yes, Prabhu, I can read.
Okay.
Bhagavad Gita.
Dhanavad Pranam, Prabhu.
7.26 Vedaham Samatitani Bhartamanani
Vartamanani Charjan.
Bhartamanani Charjuna Bhavishyani Cha Bhutani Mam tu Vedana Kaschana. Synonyms: Vedano, Aham, I, Samatitani, completely past, Bhartamanani, present, Cha, and Arjuna, O Arjuna, Bhavishyani, future, Cha, also, Bhutani, all living entities, Mam, me, Tu, but, Veda, knows, Na, not, Kaschana, anyone. Translation: O Arjuna, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I know everything that has happened in the past, all that is happening in the present, and all things that are yet to come. I also know all living entities, but me no one knows. Purport: here the question of personality and impersonality is clearly stated. If Krishna, the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, were Maya, material, as the impersonalists considered him to be, then, like the living entity, he would change his body and forget everything about his past life. Anyone with a material body cannot remember his past life, nor can he foretell his future life, nor can he predict the outcome of his present life. Therefore, he cannot know what is happening in the past, present, and future. Unless one is liberated from material contamination, he cannot know past, present, and future. Unlike the ordinary human being, Lord Krishna clearly says that he completely knows what happened in the past, what is happening in the present, and what will happen in the future. In the fourth chapter, we have seen that Lord Krishna remembers instructing Devaswan, the sun god, million of years ago. Krishna knows every living entity because he is situated in every living being's hearts as the super soul. But despite his presence in every living entity as super soul and his presence as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the least intelligent, even if able to realize the impersonal Brahman, cannot realize Sri Krishna as the Supreme Person. Certainly, the transcendental body of Sri Krishna is not perishable. He is just like the sun, and Maya is like a cloud. In the material world, we can see that there is the sun and that there are clouds and different stars and planets. The clouds may cover all these in the sky temporarily, but this covering is only apparent to our limited vision. The sun, moon, and stars are not actually covered. Similarly, Maya cannot cover the Supreme Lord. By his internal potency, he is not manifest to the less intelligent class of men, as it is stated in the third verse of the chapter. Out of millions and millions of men, some try to become perfect in this human form of life, and out of thousands and thousands of such perfected men, hardly one can understand what Lord Krishna is. Even if one is perfected by realization of impersonal Brahman or localized Paramatma, he cannot possibly understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, without being in Krishna consciousness. So
Very
that's
nice.
Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Very nice. If you think about this purport you just read, Somen Prabhu, it's almost like a repeating, Prabhupada, repeating few things
Yes.
very heavily means it's very important.
Yes.
Because Sri Krishna has explained very categorically how he is supreme being. And he starts saying that these people are in illusion who are trying to catch me. So going backward, we know that Sri Krishna has already talked about supreme position. And if we look at it, let's look at this verse. Vedaham samatitani, atit in Sanskrit means past time. Samatitani is complete. Vartaman means present. Vartamanani cha Arjuna. Vartaman is present. O Arjun, then O Arjun, I know complete past and present. And then Krishna put Bhavishani cha Bhutani. I know the future. Bhavishani. Bhavishyat. So he knows also, he knows past, present, and now he's saying also future. Bhutani. I know all living beings, future, past, present. Mantu Vedana Kaschana. But all living beings I know, but no one knows me. What is the meaning of no one knows? Krishna is saying, okay, people may know me as a historical person. Because people say, sometimes they think, oh, he was here 5,000 years back. That's the Mahabharata history says. Krishna may know me. Krishna may know me as some person whom some people know as a supreme God, but they don't understand who I actually am. That can be understood only through bhakti, devotion. That will be discussed in 18th chapter, very details on this. I remember a few verses now. Of course, it has been discussed at several places also. 9th chapter also will discuss. So in the context, Sri Krishna is showing Arjuna, Arjun, don't worry. You are concerned about what happens to your relative. Don't worry about that. I assure you that they will be taken care of. They can get liberation and come back to me. I have shown what even partial performance of devotional service can give. What result it can give? Therefore, how much greater the result one can get by wholeheartedly engaging in devotional service. Now, there is a one key point. See, at the moment of death, what determines our destiny very clearly is our attitude. Doesn't matter how long we are practicing, how is our consciousness changing? Is our attitude, service attitude, relationship is awakened? Do you have a feeling for the Lord? These are the questions we should ask. That is why one should try to do. And when one tries to do, that one will get elevated and ultimately liberated. How can Krishna know the future? This is complex question, you may think. No easy answer. Well, first of all, analyze a little bit. What do we mean by future? There are future analogists who try to look at the world and try to think what will be the future going to be like. They try to act accordingly. So they try to prepare society also to act in that way. So there are astrologers. I don't know any one of you ever met astrologer. I did, many astrologers, not just one, who help people understand, because people generally go for future. What will happen? What will be the future? Some people have all types of mystical power. So all of their areas will be destroyed and ultimately all of them will be destroyed. We wanted to know future so that we can protect ourselves. Sri Krishna says, I know the future. Instead of going to astrologer, why not you go to Krishna? Krishna, in this verse, Somen Prabhu just read, Krishna says, Bhavishani, I know your future. Why you have to go to astrologer? Anyway, I know the future. Does it mean Sri Krishna knows as our future is programmed, predestined? We have to understand that Sri Krishna's knowledge of the future is like our knowledge of the past. Our knowledge of the past is like knowledge without control. If I want to know yesterday, I wanted to sleep for 7 hours, but I slept for 10 hours. I know this, but I cannot change that. So knowledge without control, we can think about the past, we observe the past, but we cannot change it. So Krishna's knowledge about the future and our knowledge about the past, what it essentially means is that conceptions are similar, although there may be some differences. Also, a major difference is that Sri Krishna's position is different from ours. Even time is his servant. Since time is also his servant, therefore, actually speaking, as time destroys all living beings, so ultimately all living beings are his servants. So in his pastime, Sri Krishna goes home. At that time, does he act as if he knows what is going to happen? Although he knows his pastime, he knows everything that is going to happen, but he did not act that way. His goal is not to prove his divinity. His goal is to reciprocate love with his devotees. We have to look at that way. So he is saying, I am getting very hungry. So Jashoda Maya says, come Krishna, please take bath. The food is ready for you. Please come and take it. Then she offers to Sri Krishna and Balaram. And big feast. So even when Krishna is in spiritual world, he knows everything. But when performing his pastime, he told Jogomaya to allow him to forget it. That he knows anything that is now, how Sri Krishna do certain things to enhance the rasa. He increased the lila of his pastimes. How does he increase his rasa? How does he increase lila of his pastime? By creating a sense of predictability, which is resolved by his intervention alone. Now, how does he do this? For an example, somebody might be having some sort of issues. So just like a student is studying, a student is having a free will whether to study or not study. Now, when the teacher is observing the student, it is a rough example. Krishna will be all-knowing, the teacher may not be all-knowing, but the teacher can see. The student will study and he will develop educated mind, culture of hard work. Eventually, it will lead to success. On the other, if student does not do that, then what will happen? The student will fail. So the pathway are there, and depending on the pathway, the inevitable result. After that, so what Sri Krishna revealed is something similar. Sri Krishna is God. He can know the future. He can change the future. Krishna does not even have to give us free will. He can make us act like a robot, completely obeying his command. That is not what Sri Krishna does. Sri Krishna gives freedom by which he allows us to be tested and also allows us to become purified. By that, by seeing how trivial it is to bother about these things. Better bother about developing your relationship with me. Better focus on developing ourselves spiritually, because that alone will lead to lasting benefit. That's why he says this verse, Mantu Vedana Kaschana. Mantu Vedana Kaschana. So Krishna is throwing challenge to Arjuna's spirit, trying to direct him away from the fear, which is paralyzing Arjuna. He's saying, actually, why should I fight? He's asking this question to Arjuna, originally, to which Sri Krishna is replying, why you would not fight? Now Sri Krishna knows the result in future, what is going to happen. So Krishna knows that Abhimanyu is going to die. Sri Krishna knows that Jayadratha is going to die. But still Sri Krishna let the fight to go on, because his goal is to perform a lila, pastime. And lila doesn't mean that people will not use their free will. But we have trajectories. Depending upon the trajectories, there are consequences. So as a devotee, we should not worry unnecessarily about these sorts of things. What happened to this person? What will happen to me? What will happen to that person? Who will keep doing devotional service steadily? And eventually, by Krishna's mercy, by Srila Prabhupada's mercy, inner presence of Krishna, inner revelation of Krishna will happen within our hearts. It will happen. We need to have patience and perseverance. Just keep going on, Prabhu's and Mother. Go on and on. Then what will happen? Krishna is saying, Mantu Vedana Kaschana. Me, no one knows. Srila Prabhupada gave some cloud example in the purport. And this is a very nice example. Means we have to elevate our consciousness and go to that platform. Then we'll be able to perceive Krishna. This is a beautiful verse. You know, I can take away from this purport, Prabhupada's purport. We cannot know what the future holds, but we can know who holds the future. Can we? Yes. We dream of parents dream about children's future or even their own future. We dream of bright future, but also dread a dark future. What if we lose our job or our health or our loved one? So much to worry. Given that our emotional energy is substantially consumed in wondering what the future holds. Prabhus and mothers, try to memorize this verse. Bhavishyani cha bhutani. Krishna says futurologies, or what you call astrology. Whatever the merits of these ways of prediction, the fact remains that we cannot know for sure what the future holds for us. This uncertainty can be petrifying and paralyzing. To counter such anxiety, spiritual wisdom urges us to shift our vision from ahead to up, to the Supreme Controller, Krishna, God. Krishna knows, we just read 3-4 times. He knows the past, he knows our present, and he knows our future. So when we study Bhagavad Gita, we come to know that as a supreme being, he holds the future. He orchestrates everything for our ultimate well-being, for our spiritual evolution towards the life, towards life and love eternal. To evolve thus, we need to serve him lovingly, thereby living in harmony with our core nature as soul, as his eternal parts or servant. When we understand his omnipotent position and benevolent disposition, we feel inspired. We feel inspired to entrust our future to him. How do we act on this trust? You may be thinking, how do we act? By focusing not on speculation about the future, but on contribution in the present. When the devotee said to Prabhupada, one doctor said, due to my drug addiction, my brain part is damaged. And there is some kind of operation or some way to treat that, to regain brain cells like that. Prabhupada did not encourage. He said, whatever is left, just serve. Keep on chanting and serve. That will be enough. Everything will be wonderful. So by focusing not on speculation about the future, but on contribution in the presence. If we really strive to connect with Krishna by practicing bhakti yoga, chanting, serving diligently, that connection becomes our security and guide. We feel increasingly secure as our Krishna conscious practice helps us feel sheltered in his remembrance. And we feel increasingly guided as our devotional disposition makes us receptive to his inner direction. You know, chapter 10, the famous verse, Dadami Buddhi Jogam Tam. I give the intelligence to those devotees, those who are thinking about me, how to come back to me. So when we develop that feeling, we feel sheltered and counseled, we do wholeheartedly whatever is in our power to prepare better for a brighter future. And we resourcefully adapt to make the best of whatever life sends our way. Mother Sushilpa, you have raised hand. Would you like to share something or you have some?
Krishna Prabhuji, Dandat Pranam. Thank you for, you always explain it very beautifully, Prabhu, in detail. Thank you so much. I have one question, Prabhuji. You've mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna mentioned that there is free will for the Jivi, right? So does Krishna know what the Jivi or how as well ahead of time?
I missed your question. There was a little breakup. Can you repeat that, please?
Okay, sorry, Prabhuji. And so question is, we have discussed, and in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says there is a free will for the Jivi, right? Does Krishna know how would the Jivi react? How would the Jivi use his free will ahead of time? Meaning Arjuna, he insisted Arjuna, he gave all the details to Arjuna, and at the last he said, hey Arjuna, this is all the confidential knowledge that I'm giving it to you. Now it's up to you to decide, right? Now, does Krishna know what Arjuna would say, whether he will go with Krishna or he doesn't go with Krishna? the future of.
This is a very interesting. The way you put it is very interesting question, really. I give you an analogy. Maybe you can help me with that. Prabhupada gives that analogy. There is a fire and there is a mother and the child. And there is a medicine cabinet. Mother of the child warning the child, do not touch fire. But the baby is only 1 year old. Did not have any experience, but the fire is very attractive. It's a different color, making noise, all kinds of, and child wants to touch it. And mother saying, no, no. So mother is guiding the child, even maybe she is giving some education, whether child will understand or not, but she's trying that, oh, you're going to get hurt, it will make you cry, you will go for days, weeks, or I don't know how the burn, it depends on how much burn. And she's giving all kinds of lessons. But she also bought some medicine in case the child touches the fire. Mother knows if the child touches the fire, she will feel the pain. And she has the medicine to eventually get out of that pain and got a lesson to learn. Then mother is busy in the kitchen cooking and telling the child, but sometimes she's so busy with the kitchen that she can't just look at the child all the time. So you meditate on that example. Then there is another example that Prabhupada himself did with his son. And I'm sure you all heard that. His child was crying and crying and crying and crying. He was not at home. His wife, she was very adamant that no, he cannot touch that running fan. He wants to put his finger inside this running fan. And when Prabhupada came home, he said, what is the matter? Why he's crying and crying? He said, so she said, he wants to touch the fan. And I said, no. And then he almost touched it and I slapped. So he got hurt, now he's crying. But still he wants to touch it. So now Prabhupada did something interesting. He took the child on his lap, or you can say on his shoulder, and without noticing, he unplugged the fan. Then he told his son, asked his son, you want to touch? See, yes, and he's crying and he wants to touch. He still wants to touch. You think all this crying, everything taught a lesson? No. So he touched and then he got hurt. But it did not damage the finger because the fan was unplugged. So it cannot go on. It will not really react. Eventually fan will stop. Now he's crying. Now is a different cry. Before he was crying because he was stubborn to touch. Now he's crying because he got the pain of it. Prabhupada asked him, would you like to touch again? No, no, no. How about in future? No, never. Isn't his mother wanted to say that same thing? But he didn't want to listen. So in this example, from these two examples, what do you think of your question?
I have very less intelligence, Prabhu. I think mother knows about her child and precautionarily, she had the medicine also, right? She has the alternative approach on handling if in case her child will go in and then touch the fire. So the mother knows, and but then mother will not pull him out of the fire. She's still letting him to go to the fire, but uh, after knowing also, she's letting the child to go to the fire, and if he gets hurt, then she can put medicine. That's
So
what
Krishna knows our free will like that. Krishna gave us free will, but that doesn't mean we will become robot. I mean, if everything, if she would lock up the child, then there is no really free will. The child does not have a own way to learn.
right.
I'm sure you are a mother. You saw how your child started walking and falling off every few steps, and maybe sometime the baby cry. You could keep the child in the crib forever, no? But you choose not to. You want the child, even getting hurt, falling, you want that child to learn how to walk on her own or his own. Because you think for future, the future, that it will be better for a child to learn on his or her own, to start walking and running. So similarly, Krishna gives us free will. How much? It depends on each child. I mean, child could listen, mother, okay, mommy, I won't touch, it will burn. But then he goes a little bit nearby, oh, it's hot, it's good. But maybe not, maybe you'll touch the fire and burn, get learned from that. Prabhupada was genius. He applied his own son. He said he did that to his son. Now he was crying before and he's crying after. Which cry is better? I'm asking you.
Before. Of course, before, not after.
Yeah. I mean, you can say he was sad in both cases.
Right.
He wanted to touch it, his mother didn't want, and he cried. Oh, it seems like he doesn't have a free choice. But then he touched, then he's crying out of pain. So both ways crying. Soul is like this. We should actually do bhakti and depend on Krishna, surrender to him. There is no way you can beat the system of material nature. So free will is a very sensitive issue. Sensitive issue means it's not so clear. As we advance, it will be more and more clear because we'll act according to. You know, I remember we read about Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur discussion. He says to try to become my own, try to become controller myself is a non-devotional. The desire to become independent in this world means to become the servant of others. It's very deeply thoughtful. If you really think about it, just leave me alone. I can decide everything for myself. I'll do what I want to do. No, that's not what I'm saying actually indirectly. Because souls are eternally dependent. So if I'm not dependent on Krishna, I'll be dependent on Maya. Others means Maya. But we are always dependent. But you'll hear a lot of people think like, I can do whatever I want. I want to do this. I want to do this. It's as if like we are the controller. We are the predictor, future performer like that. Material independence is simply a covered form of dependence, if you can remember that. Material independence that we claim that without God I can live is simply a covered form of dependence. Complete independence is obtained by becoming dependent on Krishna. Because he is full of eternity, he is full of knowledge, he is full of bliss. So desiring only to serve him is required. As long as we, or the soul, hold the rope of the Lord's mercy, they are known as his servant. If somebody is not depending or not holding the mercy rope, they are non-devotee. So this way we can actually see ourselves where we are. This is a very nice, simple thing, but very profound. Because sometimes we think ourselves self-dependent or independent. 1947, Prabhupada's first meeting with his Guru Maharaj was that discussion. And Prabhupada appreciated. He said, I'm glad that my Guru Maharaj defeated me, because he was with Mahatma Gandhi's party. And Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur says, you young man, you should preach in English audience. You are educated in English. You should preach in English audience. Prabhupada said, who will listen us? First, we have to be independent country. And Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur just smashed that idea. He said, nobody is independent. This is the illusion they think. The British is gone, we are now free. What are you free? You're still, subject to die. You are still subject to disease and everything. What is the independent? If you really very deeply think, it's just another form of illusion. So we need to hold on to that mercy rope. This is important. Those who depend on Krishna are truly independent. If we can depend on Krishna all the time, we are independent. When we attain actual independence, then the conception that we are eternally dependent on Sri Krishna become prominent. And any object that is complete whole is transcendental. So I appreciate that question, Mother Sushilpa Devidasi. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. But one follow-up question, small follow-up question, Prabhuji. So would the reaction that we, if we react to, like the example that you took, very explanatory, I appreciate it. But the reaction, right? In the example, the boy had the impact right away, right? Like his finger is burnt. But in our real life, in this material life, would the reaction, for that reaction of not accepting or not going through Krishna, would that be, would the impact be in this life or in the next life, Prabhu?
That is difficult to say because we don't know. I don't know how much you have studied on the spider webs. I studied about spider webs one time because Prabhupada mentioned spider web many places. Actually, it's not Prabhupada. Even Bhagavatam, Sukdev Goswami talks about spider webs. Krishna's creation is like these spider webs. And when I studied about it, it scared me. Because, if a mosquito or bugs lands on spider web, you know how they eat, they catch. Now, if that bugs land on the web and don't do much, just remain there. Okay, I got stuck. Let me think. Possible, little wind, he can slip off. But if he say, what is this? I hate this. And he's going to try to entangle. Do you know how the spider web is actually formed? It's so genius. The Krishna gave this, but he gets really trapped and there is no way he can get out. He will be eaten by the spider. It scared me actually after studying this, why Bhagavatam is analyzing this so deeply. Because there's also another example, one devotee shown me, it's called Tar Baby. You can put on Google's Tar Baby. Tar Baby means, the on the road, the tar they put, what they call peas in India, the black stuff.
For roads, right?
Yes, yes.
When they make new roads. Yeah.
So there is like a monkey. It's a true story. They were researching. A monkey came to that. It was a wet, like a hot tar. So the monkey jumped on it and he got stuck with the feet. Then he got so angry. His foot is another feet to release this. Now he got stuck with the other feet, two. Then he got more angry and put the another hand to get out of it. Now three got. And then finally he's thinking, I'm going to do all my force with the fourth hand and finish. Never got out, died there. Material world is like this. There is a real genuine fear. Why Bhagavatam and our Acharya is telling us this is a fearful. More we try to get out of it on our own, we can never get out. It's made such a way that you will be like wrapped in another life, another life, another life. It's like it goes on and on and on. It's a foolish idea, completely damn foolish idea. That's why Krishna says, Mame boje prapaddante maya me tanturantite. He never said any other process. He said, just come to me. Now, when we say surrender, surrender here means relationship. Surrender means relationship. Develop a relationship with him. My Lord, I can't go out with on my own. Please help me. I want to serve you. I may not feel that I am your eternal servant. I may not feel, I feel like to serve myself. But the truth is spoken by yourself. You said we are your servant. So please help me to come back. I want to come back. I don't want to be rebellious to you. When we appeal like this, Krishna releases our bondage and then he uplifts us. We feel actually uplifted. We feel happy. We feel like, okay, our journey is over. Cut it. The more knowledge we have, Vidya kutarena sitena dhira. Vidya, the knowledge, is kutar. Kutar means the axe, in Sanskrit, kutar. Sitena dhira. Make sure the knowledge is sharp and it chops your entangle. More we hear, more we understand, more we hear, it cuts our material. And I see that. I mean, I'm not, falsely proud, but I have to be honest. We see that we are like free. We don't have to worry. As long we can remain Krishna conscious till our last breath, is fine. Whatever happened, it doesn't matter. It's so convincing. How to make other convinced? That is, we need Krishna's help to help them. We have to practice and preach. So thank you for bringing that point. As for this life or next life, we don't know. But don't worry about all this. Just depend on Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Mother Gaurangi Devi is here and Philip is here. Both has a raised hand. And we have a few minutes because I have another private class at the GBC college at 7. So let's see what they have. Mother Gaurangi, would you like to go first? Okay.
Hi, Krishna Prabhu. Thank you. Yeah, to follow up on your response just now, you said that we are never independent. We're always either dependent on Krishna's Maya potency, or, Krishna. But at the same time, you also said that if we depend on Krishna, then we are free. So how to reconcile this?
Like when we are dependent on Krishna, we are part of him. We are connected. Then our true nature comes back. Loving, happy, joyful. We are dependent because of the connection, through service, but we feel free. We are not entangled. This idea to be independent is not even an issue because you feel independent. It's very subtle. Just like a
Yeah,
person in the jail, he goes there for correction, reformation. But when he becomes there, he lives there 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, he becomes an inmate. He actually lost the idea of correction. I mean, this is a true story. Margie, I don't know if she's still there, Margaret, she is the superintendent of the Stark prison. She told me personally, he said, yes, Govind, once they live with us for 15, 20 years, they feel this is their home. But prison is never their home. So they may say they are happy, but is that a happy? But that's what they think. So our independent or this analogy is very difficult to understand until we are completely connected with Krishna. Then we feel completely free.
Yeah, free here means, the freedom to be who happiness as our happy in our natural existence. That's the freedom, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Here,
Yes.
freedom is like a controlling others also, for my happiness. But in spiritual world, there is no controlling others for happiness. Everybody is happy.
Okay, I know you're short of time, and there's another question, but
Thank you.
I just wanted to quickly ask: is there any appropriate use for astrology in our lives?
Sure, you can. I mean, it's not, Prabhupada is not completely against it, but we should not be obsessed on it. There are some, I mean, I saw some, even I was, believe or not, I was fascinated every time astrologer would be there. Okay, tell me about my future. It's like, it's very confusing because we don't want to really just depend on Krishna easily. We say it, but it's not easy. Now I look at it, oh, what a fool I was. Maybe I'm still fool, but we are fascinated with the astrologer because they can
Yes.
see something. So like that. It's okay. But I mean, it's nothing wrong. Is that Prabhupada met astrologer also. Some astrologer met Prabhupada. That the famous astrologer, I personally saw him also, who told Prabhupada that you'll build a home that whole world can live in peace. So
Yeah.
Prabhupada did
So
see astrology.
I think the idea though is that devotees don't have that sense of dependence on astrology for their sense
Very,
of well-being.
very good. You got it. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Thank you, Mother Sri Gaurangi. You always have a very nice, thoughtful question.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you. Thank you. Philip, you have a raised hand.
Yeah, I'll make it quick. So I've had my question is around gurus, I guess surviving without a guru, and here's why. So I've noticed with this whole process, they talk about the service aspect, but what I've also noticed is as you become more devotional, you become more intelligent, but it because I have a job too, I notice it carries over into my regular life. And it sounds like a good thing, but I've noticed that the ego really wants to take credit for all of that. And so how do you, as Krishna gives you more resources to get closer to him, if you don't have a guru who can keep you in line, how do you kind of protect yourself from your ego trying to steal credit it doesn't deserve for things that are happening as a side effect of your devotional service and practice?
Philip, I know you a little bit. You have a guru. Srila Prabhupada is our guru for 10,000 years, Shiksha Guru. And when time comes, you mature, you will have a Diksha Guru. Don't take the credit. Actually, it is Krishna through Prabhupada attracted you. Look at you. You are born in the West. you born with eating meat. I mean, four regulative principle, I don't know about your details personal life, but you stayed with me. I mean, we didn't follow you didn't follow four regulative principle before. Now you're following, you are trying to chant, you're understanding this. This is not on your own. It is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who is attracting through Prabhupada to Krishna Consciousness Society. So give the credit to Prabhupada and ISKCON. And more you try to give, your ego will say, no, no, it's you. But eventually you'll come out of it. Eventually you'll come out of it. Try to give more credit to Prabhupada.
Yeah, I like that. I find that listening to lectures makes it a lot easier to realize, because just reading the books, the text it's like, it's beautiful and the devotees help also, but there's always that little voice that's like, you're doing such a great job. And it sounds so innocent, but it's really not. It's like, it's not innocent at all. And I find myself fighting against it. Like, I know this is a blessing because I remember life before this process. And so it's like you forget where you came from. And I find it terrifying because it's like, if you forget for too long, you just fall down.
Yeah, yeah. That's nice. And we'll talk sometime this week.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Phil. Nice to hear from you. Hare Krishna, Prabhus and mothers. Looking forward to see you all next Wednesday. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Panchakalpataruvesya Kripa Sindhaveva Chapatitanam Pavane Vaishnave. Srila Prabhupada ki